Welcome to the RSP Film Room. I'm Matt Waldman with the Rookie Scouting Portfolio. Today we're going to take a look at University of Tennessee running back John Kelly. Now I realize that Kelly got suspended. He was booked on a misdemeanor possession charge of marijuana after a traffic stop, and Tennessee had suspended him. I don't know for how long. I'm not really concerned about those details at this exact point because really what I do is evaluate talent. And if they have an opportunity, I want you to see what they can do with that opportunity. Draft stock dictates opportunity more than it dictates talent. And I've gone into that in detail in numerous articles that you can find at my site, mattwaldmanrsp.com. Today, let's look at Kelly against Florida because I think pound for pound, he is one of the more physical backs that I have seen in college football in recent years. And I like Alvin Kamara. I think he's done an excellent job for the Saints, and he was one of my top scheme fit backs, and I think he's doing not only as well as expected as a good scheme fit in space, he's done even a little better as a player between the tackles, and he's done extremely well as a player maintaining good ball security when he wasn't able to hold on to the ball very well at Tennessee. Kelly, in my mind, has actually been better between the tackles at Tennessee than what I've seen from Kamara. So that's something to keep note of. So let's watch him in action. We're going to watch a number of things that I think are worthwhile for you to get to know how talented this John Kelly. The first play we're going to take a look at is Kelly working out into the flat as a receiver. You're going to see this kind of motion here to a pistol look with Kelly as more of the up back in this pistol. And he's going to work to the side as if he's going to block this defensive end on the edge and then slide outside onto the drag route, a quick little roll, and he catches the ball in the flat. Uses his hands well, doesn't really leave his feet too high here. He leaps only as necessary, and I would say it's not even that much of a leap. He turns inside, he picks up a nice block, but what I want you to see here, and I think that is probably one of the more impressive displays about this play, is his ability to really drop his pads and dig through a safety head on with him. And he uses that free arm, that's not the ball carrying arm, and he's putting that free arm and shoulder into one shoulder of the defender, getting low, the bend of his knees and hips. That's impressive flexibility, regardless of the context of the play. Looking at that hip flexibility and the bend of the knees tells you that this guy is going to be able to cut. It's going to apply to route running, to lateral cuts, to different types of moves that you're going to see as a cut blocker or just a stand-up blocker in general. That flexibility is there for him to really maximize his power, to use his leverage. And you can see that here where he just knocks that defender on his back, keeps his legs moving, and then even spins off the second defender, wrapping him, the cornerback here, so that he can nearly get the first down. It's 5 yards after contact, nearly 6. That's a wonderful play from Kelly and a big indication of his physical nature, even for his size, and how leverage and flexibility can translate to power. And when you can beat a safety like that, you can do that in the NFL too. Sometimes short yardage plays or short losses tell me more about how good a player can be than the productive gains that he has. And I think that's something that people misunderstand about evaluation, is that you can take a look at certain statistics and blow the context out of the water and just talk about how productive he is and talk about his production share, but you're not really looking at the context of how good his offense is. And I think that, surrounding talent matters. We saw that with Todd Gurley recently, where Gurley, people were questioning because of the stats whether he really was as good as people thought. And now we're looking at him and, he's a top 5 running back in terms of production this year, now that he actually has an offensive line and some balance with a quarterback who can make defenses pay, just like some of the other top running backs do. Very rarely does one player dominate with subpar talent around him at the NFL level. So this play in context, you're going to look at John Kelly. It's a 3rd and 1. It's a short yardage play. You got a wind back here from the lead wing back here, and you see a linebacker come crashing through. Kelly dips outside of him. then gets hit by the outside linebacker, spins off that, and dives forward, nearly getting the first down. Now let's watch it in slow motion so you can kind of see everything that I just described. First, you're going to see number 11. He's going to come working around to the right end and help out later. Then number 33 up the hash, he's going to get inside the center and get underneath the wingback, and he's the one that gets through. The wingback misses the outside linebacker, and Kelly bounces off or at least gets underneath the shoot attempt by the middle linebacker. The outside linebacker gets a hit while 33 is at least wrapping Kelly's legs, and Kelly's able to get through that. So instead of a 2-yard loss, he's at the line of scrimmage and is able to dive forward and nearly get the first down. It's that balance. It's that subtle movement. It's seeing the penetration. It's the second effort. These are all things that I really like. And this is something that shows up repeatedly on his film. I remember, Ahmad Bradshaw was a perfect example of a back with this kind of second effort and balance and pound for pound power. I really like it, and we're going to see more of it coming up. Here's a small play that I just can't even help showing you, and I know that some of you are going to go, well, why? It's not that big of a deal. But it's, again, those small little details, the layers of information all kind of fitting together that help you see who a player really is. And this is a short gain. You're going to see the defensive end spin inside of his assignment, and he's going to hit Kelly pretty flush on the chest, at least with his arm and shoulder. And Kelly bounces off that, spins away, and forces a wrap from that defensive end. And he nearly pulls away from this. If it wasn't for 54 coming down the line to hit him again, we might have seen a different outcome from this play. So, even the fact that he gets hit hard like that and he's able to spin off it and have the wherewithal and balance to get back downhill before he gets wrapped up by the pursuit, it's also a really nice little. And here's where that balance shows up in greater detail, because when you're 5'9", 205 and you get hit, in the chest by a defensive end, you're not supposed to win that. And he almost did. Where he's going to win that, and you can see that happening here, is when he faces a linebacker or a defensive back. He's going to work around left end, and you're going to see the cornerback come upfield and force Kelly to work outside, and then the safety to come up and hit him flush, head on. Now it stops Kelly and stands him straight up. But Kelly's able to slide off of that hit, withstand it, and get another yard out of that play. Here's the safety. Watch him again. Watch it from the safety's point of view as he comes up to Kelly and makes that hit. And Kelly's able to bounce off that and really get almost 2 yards off of that play. That's good balance. And when you can do that against safeties, you often can break big runs. Here's another short yardage play that also indicates, that this guy has some power and second effort to him, because he's going to have to take on 2 linebackers in this 3rd and inches. He cuts it inside, and here are the 2 linebackers, and watch him split them, slide off the first one, get under the second one. The second one hits him, and he looks done here. I mean, he looks wrapped up, ready to go. Look at him pull and lean across to get the first down on this play. That's strength. That's strength and fight. Being able to move your legs while you're wrapped up, being able to figure out where to lean and extend. That is a heck of a play for a running back. And you wouldn't expect him to win this against 2 linebackers unblocked who hit him in the backfield. Again, got to give it to him. All right, so here's Kelly on another pass at the top of the second half. You can see him work also across to the flat like he did earlier in the first quarter. This time we're going to watch his stiff arm. Look at the placement of that, right on the shoulder, neck area. And it's such good placement that he's able to knock that man down and not really even get touched. Not a big gain, but you're just seeing the elements of his game in separate components where they work well. And when you find the right moments where they work all together, you see him break big plays. I haven't shown all the big plays that he's broken, and he's had a few already in this game, but we're going to see a few more coming up. Here's an example of Kelly working between the tackles. You're going to see a nice little cutback here because there's going to be penetration by 93. 93 is going to get into the gap a little bit. And then he's going to see also 33 coming into the gap that he wanted to work to. And he makes a nice cutback right here to avoid that defender, and it opens up a really nice backside gap for him to get the first down. And he lowers the shoulder on a defender. Let's watch it in slow-mo. Get a chance to see some of this action where you get the push on the right guard, and you see number 33, the middle linebacker, come through. So here's that push. 93 getting the push. Here comes 33 as I'm circling him. He gets inside the center, and you see Kelly within about 2 yards, 1 to 2 yards of the defender, makes that cutback inside, and now he's free and clear to get the first down, and he covers up with both arms and lowers the boom. We'll watch it from this angle. You'll again see the push. There's the push from that side. Here comes the defender 33 coming through into the gap. You see the nice little cut downhill. First down. Here's an example of good decision making from Kelly. You got a 1st and 10. This is a good opportunity for any back to be able to bounce a play outside if it doesn't work out inside, because he's in good field position. He's got a good down and distance situation. It's a close game. They're still in the 3rd quarter. These are all points that should factor in of whether you should take some bigger risks or just follow the play to completion. And Kelly understands that. He sees the penetration from 54. He tries to head towards the gap where he's got a double team, but he sees the gap getting closed off. And as it's getting compressed, he bounces it out, and he considers another point inside the tackles. I like that. He's not automatically trying to string it all the way outside. He's trying to take it one gap at a time. He sees the next gap over to the left with a little hop step or a jump cut. Sees that's not there, so he bounces it out to the corner at this point. And he's fast enough to beat 94 around the edge. And here's our outside linebacker, number 11. Watch the stiff arm here at about 7 yards into the run. And he knocks the man down at about 12 yards into the run. And while he's knocked out of bounds, he's never on the ground. Again, good balance. Uses that stiff arm, places it well. So when you imagine this type of run taking place closer in bounds with a stiff arm like this, you can see, or at least imagine, examples where Kelly is going to be able to make some strong play after contact in a number of scenarios where he gets a lot more yards. Now, I think Kelly has work to do as a pass protector, and we may see a couple of reps of this later. If not, let me just tell you, he tends to drop his head and lead with his shoulders and not really be a really good puncher who's got balance with his punches, and he overextends. And that's something he's got to work on, but the effort's there. But as a receiver, look at this play where he catches with his arms fully extended over his shoulder, running away from the quarterback, turning upfield very smoothly. And this is a nice move, and he gets his feet up and over to hop over the man and turns that into a 3rd and short. Solid play, what we're looking at here. Kelly's going to work out into the flat and watch the angle of this throw. It's going to land at his back hip while he's running away from the target. Look at that extension and that catch right there. I see a lot of guys drop this type of throw on Sundays. He makes it look easy. He doesn't get any yardage. He actually loses a little bit, but it just highlights again his hand-eye coordination, good technique, uses his hands to try and bring that in. He has to kind of juggle it into himself, kind of double catch it. Let's look at it one more time. But he had the correct hand position, but he knew that this ball was not in a position for him to be able to catch it with maybe both hands. But he's pretty close. It's a nice play. Now, Kelly's not the fastest guy on the field, and that may drop his draft stock a little bit, but I like what he does after the catch. He's got enough burst to get downfield. He can set up a defender. That's a really nice little setup with his footwork and a little bit of a head fake, sidestep there, and then he's able to run through a wrap. He's not a guy you want to wrap high. You got to wrap him low, or you got to hit him and wrap him and drive. And when you have to do all 3 of those things to bring a man down, you've got some power in your game. This is a nice run. You're going to watch him, again, make a nice move upfield. He never presents a strong angle for a defender in the open field. Well, not never, but pretty close. Again, nice little move inside out. Stiff arm helps him with that quickness. Gets square downfield. Really, again, good, nice hip bend. And look at him split these two defenders with that cut and spin off the reach so that he can stay downfield, and nearly breaks another tackle in the process. This is a guy who creates for you. You want him creating for you in space. It seems like he can create for you between the tackles as well. That's going to be the bigger question, is our team's going to feel comfortable with him at 205 pounds being able to hold up and be their every down guy. Also, here's an example of that blocking that it's got to get better. See how he drops his head? See how low he gets there? It's nice that he bends and sits in the chair with the bend of his knees, but when you bend your shoulders like that, even with your head up, once he drops that head and he gets hit, he's going to be a weeble wobble, except he's not going to get back up. Now here's Kelly with a, this is the type of run that you could see in the NFL when you talk about the extent of his speed. Is he going to break 60, 70, 80-yard runs? Probably not, unless there's 11 men in the box trying to defend him and he breaks through and he builds a big lead and the defensive back cannot catch up to him. But on these types of runs, 40 to 50 yards, he can make that safety miss with a good move on and ahead of time and be able to break a tackle of a pursuer like this middle linebacker and get the score. He reaccelerates pretty well too, because look at that. That's a pretty good reacceleration from this point to get the angle on that linebacker who's never really stopped from the point where he broke the first tackle. Let's watch it again from our end zone angle. Nice little setup, good manipulation of the feet to be able to get into that crease. It's a good variation of stride. And then a good variation of his footwork to avoid that first defender and run through the wrap. Now here's a nice screen play from Kelly. Again, that manipulation of the open field, the footwork to kind of trick that defender and get inside of him. Now you can see the cornerbacks getting pursuit on him, where once he makes that dip inside right about here, he's not able to pull away from the cornerbacks. It's still a long gain, but you can see where this play originated was at their own 20. So he doesn't have that speed like, Chris Johnson in his prime, where he's going to turn this into an 80-yard play. But 50 yards, 58 yards, yeah, he can do that. And that's good enough to be an every down contributor in the NFL. So if his 40 time doesn't turn out to be all that impressive, I wouldn't be surprised if his 20 shuttle and or his 3-cone drill are very impressive, or impressive enough for what would be qualified for an NFL starter. I even like the balance shown on this play because there's penetration. You can see him have to bend inside, try and slide outside. He ends up colliding with his wingback's leg and kind of tripping over it, but he's able to stumble back into a position to stay downhill, keep his pads low, head up. And when you keep your pads low and your head up, you can lean for extra yardage, and immediately gets that head up, and he gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 yards after that trip up. Would you like to see him avoid that leg? Yeah, of course, but these things happen. And the fact that he's able to balance touch his way for extra yards is just another layer, once again, of his balance and yards after contact skill. And here's a fun stiff arm. You're going to watch this on a bounce outside. He's going to work downhill, see that the crease is packed here. 33 was in that unblocked, so he bounces outside of that, runs through a reach, outruns the edge defender, and then watch him against this defensive back. Watch this stiff arm. Yeah. It's that old Marshawn Lynch get off me stiff arm right there. Maybe not as good, but it certainly gives you some echoes of it, and it's on the shoulder. He gets his hand on the shoulder first, and watch him kind of load up with it. On the shoulder, elbow bent, and then he straightens it out and drives that man off of him. He doesn't get many more yards off with it. But again, you're seeing all the skills come into play. Another short yardage demonstration of balance. This is going to come off of a face mask against number 96, the defensive end. He tries to slide outside. He gets grabbed by the face mask at the line of scrimmage. He's able to duck through it and pull his head away and still get another yard to 3 yards on that play after he's hit from behind. But the fact he's able to pull away and not get yanked to the ground from that, again, it's a level of awareness of your body and surroundings, a feel for open space, and the ability to work through unexpected scenarios. So I'm going to show this play because invariably somebody's going to bring it up against Florida and talk about something like clutch factor or whatever, because Brown caught numerous passes in this game. He made a tough catch in the red area earlier in the game, and this one's a wide open play where it's thrown a little behind him. Probably should have been thrown ahead and it would have been an easier catch, but this was still an easy enough catch for him to make, and he drops it, and it cost them the ball game. He could have won this game for them on this play. I'm sure he feels sick about it. But this is one of those scenarios where, yeah, you want to see him improve. But he was a reason that they were still in this game in the first place. These are types of mistakes players sometimes make. It was still a ball that was pretty low. See how he had to catch it in a stride where that his front leg is kind of impeding his arms from being able to pull the ball in. It's almost like that inside knee hits his forearm and the ball as he's trying to catch it. That's how low the ball is. So it's a deceptively difficult throw right here. I mean, he literally breaks up his own catch because of his stride. And the reason he does that is it's a low throw, and it's low and behind, and it's not leading him properly. So I'm sure he feels like he should have made that play, but that's a pretty difficult play. Thanks again for watching. I've really enjoyed watching John Kelly, someone I can't wait to watch even more games of than I have. But I would definitely recommend this game, Texas A&M last year. Those two stand out as far as what I see in his skills: after contact, balance, stiff arm, ability to make people miss in the open field, pass catching. It's all there for this guy. The only thing that he has to really get better at, I would say, is if he can improve his long speed a little bit, great. If he can add a little bit of weight, so that teams can look at him as maybe at least feel comfortable with him as being a 50-50 timeshare guy. I think they're going to be able to do that right away anyway. And then also his pass protection as a stand-up player. If he can deliver as a stand-up pass protector in the NFL, I think you're going to see a guy who could be seen as a lead back with a group of committee guys. But he can run gap for you. He can run zone. He can be used as a receiver split away from the formation or from the backfield. There's a lot of positives about John Kelly's game. We'll see how things develop with the suspension, and see if he actually stays for another year as well, being a junior. Thanks again for watching. For more RSP Boiler Room videos, you can check out my YouTube channel, the RSP Film Room, and my blog at www.mattwaldmanrsp.com.